Good morning. This is your 8:15 daily operations weather briefing. Looking at cloudy conditions around the area this morning with a slight onshore breeze. Overall, should see a fairly quiet weather day ahead. I do have a slight chance of maybe seeing a brief sprinkle or light rain, but overall, not expecting anything too impactful as we'll continue to see that slight onshore breeze through today and cloudy conditions continuing as we move through towards the middle of the week. We will start to see some minor impacts from the tropical systems off to the south and southeast, but keeping those main impacts away from the area, mainly just going to see some increased cloud cover and some breezy conditions developing midweek, and we'll see some high surf along the coastlines here. Taking a look at the current surface analysis, we have high pressure centered to our north, a stationary boundary just along the southeast coast, and seeing tropical storm Imelda just off the eastern part of the southern tip of Florida. Do expect this system to track northward. We'll take a look at that momentarily, and it's going to push some moisture overrunning this boundary here, but mainly going to see that rain off to our southwest and expecting mainly dry conditions again outside of a slight chance of a light sprinkle or light rain as we move through the day. Today we'll see continuing dry conditions as we move through the remainder of the week. Current conditions this morning, seeing a broken deck at 18,000 feet and overcast at 25,000 feet. Winds out of the north-northeast at 3 knots. Temperature 67 degrees. Relative humidity is at 90%. Quick look at the local radar. We can see do have some light radar returns, quite a bit of noise here on the radar, but do have some light radar returns off to the west and south and tracking slightly northward. Do see a lot of that dissipating, but that's going to be that slight chance of a brief light sprinkle or so as we move through the next mainly daytime hours today, but again, not expecting anything that's really going to impact any ops as we move through the day today. Looking at the current visible satellite, we can see plenty of clouds streaming in from the south, mainly coming from the area of tropical storm Imelda, and going to see those clouds sticking around as we move through the day today. We'll look at the European model here, zoomed out to see the bigger picture, because the main impacts are going to come from those tropical systems off to the southeast and high pressure building in to our north as we move through the middle of the week. We'll see as we move through today just some light indications of light precip from the European model here over the local area, but again, that will amount to mainly a light sprinkle or light rain. We see tropical storm Imelda here closer to the Florida coast, and then Umberto further off east of that. And we're going to see as we move into the day on Tuesday, continue to see dry conditions here around the local Wallops area. We'll see some slightly breezy conditions as we start to see the pressure gradient tightening as these systems track further northward, and we have an area of high pressure start to build southward off to our north. So we're going to see that pressure gradient tighten across the local area, seeing some slightly breezy conditions through the day on Tuesday, but we will see dry conditions continuing. We see Umberto start to make its turn around Bermuda and move out to sea, and that helps to pull Imelda towards its direction as well, and we'll see that turning eastward as we move through the middle of next week. What we see here, continued dry conditions around the local area, but as we move overnight Tuesday into the day on Wednesday, high pressure continues to build in from the north, and we see that those tropical systems closer to the area start to tighten that pressure gradient, bringing some breezy conditions into the start of the day of Wednesday and continuing through the day. As those systems track away from the area, we continue to see that area of high pressure building southward, and we'll continue to see quiet conditions and start to see that pressure gradient relaxing as we move into the later portion of the week. Do want to take a quick look at Tropical Storm Imelda's forecast here. Expected to continue as a tropical storm and then turn eastward, staying well away from the Wallops area, just potentially impacting Bermuda later in the week. The Umberto track looking west of Bermuda could see some tropical storm conditions at Bermuda, but expected to turn off to the east, so not expecting, again, any significant impacts locally here at Wallops outside of some elevated surf and some breezy conditions through the middle portion of the week. So as we look at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, keeping a yellow risk for a slight chance of a brief light rain or sprinkle as we move through our working hours today. But again, not expecting anything very impactful to any work today. We'll see winds out of the northeast peaking around 8 to 13 knots, temperature rising to around 75 degrees. Continuing with cloudy conditions today, we'll see those ceilings likely falling to around 12,000 feet. As we get into the later portion of the morning, could see ceilings as low as 1,000 feet or 6,000 feet with any light sprinkle trying to develop. But otherwise, as we get into the evening time frame, we see that chance of any light rain starts to diminish, and we will see ceilings right around 8,000 feet and continuing to be the case as we move through the overnight time frame. With the exception, we do pick up this yellow risk for reduced ceilings and visibilities with a chance for some low clouds or patchy fog as we move past the 2 a.m. time frame. We'll see our low temperatures right around 66 degrees and see those winds continue out of the northeast, but weakening a bit around 5 to 10 knots as we move through the early morning hours of Tuesday. Tides running slightly above normal. We'll see those start to elevate as we have that onshore flow. Tuesday we'll see cloudy with slightly breezy onshore flow, high of 75 degrees. Looking at green conditions for our weather risk at this point. Tuesday evening, we'll start to see the winds become a bit breezier, so introducing a yellow risk for wind advisory criteria, and we'll see mostly cloudy conditions continuing with a low of around 64 degrees. Then a cooler day on Wednesday with mostly to partly cloudy conditions and fairly breezy onshore flow. Do have an orange risk for elevated winds above that wind advisory criteria, high just around 70 degrees. That's going to wrap up the 8:15 daily operations weather briefing. We'll be back again at 10 a.m. to take a look at the extended forecast. Enjoy your morning.